السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، وأهلا بكم في حلقة جديدة من برنامج شاهد على العصر، حيث نواصل الاستماع إلى شهادة مؤسس ماليزيا الحديثة الدكتور مهاتير محمد. معالي رئيس الوزراء، مرحبا بك. كان واقع الانتخابات البرلمانية في العام 1969 صاعقا على ائتلاف الجبهة الوطنية الحاكمة أمنو. ما الرسالة التي قرر الصينيون إرسالها إلى الملايويين؟
By 1969, the Chinese believed that they were not being treated well in this country. They claimed they were second-class citizens. And because of that, they felt they could not support the government party, the alliance at that time. I found this out, but unfortunately, I was not able to reach the president of the party, Tunku Abdul Rahman. And so we went to the election feeling very unsure of ourselves. And the result showed that the Chinese did not support the government party, and the government party could not get a clear majority in 2 states, and also a very weak majority at the federal level.
ما هي أهم الأخطاء التي وقع فيها الملايويون وأدت إلى هذه النتيجة؟
I think the feeling among the Chinese is that they were not well treated, not equal to the indigenous Malays who dominated the government at that time. And therefore they wanted to reduce the strength of the Malays in the government so that their dominance would not be so great. And as a result, of course, the Chinese did not vote for the BN, but for the alliance. But at the same time, they themselves could not win. What they could do was to give support to the opposition parties, and in many cases, it happened to be the Islamic Party. Not that they support the Islamic Party, but they merely wanted the alliance candidate to lose.
الأمر تطور إلى أعمال عنف دامية بين الملايويين والصينيين في كوالالمبور في 13 مايو أيار عام 1969، حتى أنك وصفت المشهد بأنه أشبه ما يكون بساحة حرب دامية. هل لا زال هذا المشهد مثلا في ذهنك؟
Yes, I do. What happened was that in Kuala Lumpur, almost exclusively in Kuala Lumpur, the opposition parties, in particular the new Chinese party, Chinese-based party, the Gerakan, decided to celebrate what they call their victory. Of course, it was not a victory on their part, but they have won in the state of Penang, but otherwise they have not made any success, but they still regarded their achievement as a victory, and they had a demonstration, or rather they had a march through the Malay area of Kuala Lumpur, and there they start throwing insults at the Malays in Kuala Lumpur, telling them, you better go back to your villages. And the Malays, of course, became extremely angry. And 2 days later, they organized their own victory celebration. And it was during that celebration that violence took place. The Malays came armed with machetes, knives and all that, and they killed a number of Chinese. Of course, some of their own people were also hurt during the rioting that followed. And the government at that time had to declare a state of emergency and suspend the parliament So there was a rule by decree by a group of people representing the Alliance Party and also members of the police and the armed forces were on a sort of government, members of a sort of government, emergency government, which ruled the country by decree at that time.
ترك هذا الأمر ندبة في العلاقة بين الصينيين والملايويين. أنت خسرت الانتخابات البرلمانية، لكن تصرفاتك وتصريحاتك كانت طاغية، أنك كنت غاضبا بشدة على تنكو عبد الرحمن رئيس الحكومة ورئيس أمنه، رغم أنه نصحك بالصبر، لكنك كما قلت في مذكراتك كنت عديم الشفقة في الرد عليه.
Yes, I had expected a bad result. As I said just now, I wanted to inform the Prime Minister, the Tunku at that time, that on the ground, the feeling against the government from the Chinese was very bad. But he did not give me an opportunity to meet and explain to him. And the result showed that I was right, that the Chinese did not support the government. And as a result, there was this rioting and many people were killed. So he did not seem to appreciate the seriousness of the situation and the reason why it happened. And I had to tell him that one of the reasons why the Malays became very angry is because after independence, there was no change in the situation of the Malays. They still remain very poor, very backward. They still remain confined outside the economic system of the country. And they were very angry over that. And they felt that the Tunku was to be blamed. And that was when I decided to write a letter to him to inform him that he must accept the blame. Of course, he was very angry with me. He wrote back to scold me, and of course, subsequently he expelled me from the party. I, of course, continued to voice my opinion, and of course, I was supportive of the Malays that they were not getting anything from independence. And this was not very much liked by the Chinese community. It was at that stage that they labeled me as an extremist.
أنت لم تكتفي بالرسالة التي كتبتها إلى تنكو عبد الرحمن والتي قلت فيها إنك كنت عديم الشفقة، وإنما طبعت على نطاق واسع وزعت في أنحاء البلاد وكأنها تحد مباشر لقيادة أمنه ورئاسة الحكومة. طالبت تنكو عبد الرحمن بالاستقالة من المجلس الأعلى للحزب، ودعيت إلى اجتماع في 12 يوليو تموز، دعا إلى اجتماع وقرر طردك من أمنه. بعدما رفضت أنت بعناد شديد أن تقدم الاعتذار، طلبوا منك أن تعتذر وأنت رفضت أن تقدم الاعتذار.
When I wrote the letter, I feared I would be arrested. And because of that, I gave a copy of that letter to a friend of mine so that if I am arrested, they would know the reason why. Unfortunately, of course, this friend made public the contents of my letter. In fact, he published the letter, not with my permission, but although I was not arrested, he still published the letter, and the people seemed to be in agreement with me over the contents of the letter, and this angered Tunku. Of course, he wanted to have me arrested, but the police were against it because they thought it would make me a kind of hero in the eyes of the people. So I was not arrested, but he replied to me, and I replied to him again to say that he should resign and give the prime ministership to his number two, Tun Abdul Razak.
أنت كنت في هذا السن صغيرا لكنك كنت عنيدا، ولم يكن من عادات الملايويين أن يقوم شاب صغير بتحدي رمز سياسي ورمز كبير بالنسبة لهم، رئيس الحكومة، رئيس الحزب. أما توقعت نتائج مدمرة على مستقبلك السياسي؟
Well, I admit it was a risk I had to take, but I felt that on the ground many people were supportive of my stand, so I was willing to take the risk, and maybe as a result I might lose my political career and completely, as happened to another minister of Tunku's cabinet who was expelled and never came back in politics. But I felt that the risk was worthwhile taking, because otherwise the Tunku would not realize the mistakes that he had made. So I was willing to take that risk.
بعد 5 سنوات قضيتها في صخب البرلمان والسياسة، خسرت مقعدك البرلماني، ثم خسرت مقعدك وموقعك في المجلس الأعلى لائتلاف أمنو، أعلى سلطة في الحزب، ثم طردت من الحزب في 27 سبتمبر 69. ما وقع هذه الأمور عليك وعلى حياتك؟
Well, at that time I didn't know whether I would be able to come back as into politics or not. But I did know that the deputy prime minister was not against me. That in the end, of course, the deputy would become Tun Razak, the deputy prime minister. He was not against me. Of course, he didn't say so in so many words, but I knew that he was not altogether with the Tunku, because we had some discussions about the condition of the country, because I was still able to contact Tun Razak. So although the Tunku did not like me, I thought that if the Tunku is not the prime minister anymore, there was a possibility I would be allowed to come back.
هناك شيء مؤلم في السياسة، هو أنك حينما تترك المنصب أو تطرد منه يتركك الناس، تدخل في إطار من الوحدة والفراغ. هل عشت هذه الحالة بعد طردك من أمنه؟
Oh, yes, of course. Nobody wants to visit me, because they fear that if they visit me, the government might not look well on them, or might take action against them. Of course, the special branch was watching me, watching my house all the time. But those are things that you should expect if you want to be, if you believe in your struggle. And I thought that it was worthwhile for me to lose my contacts with my friends, to be very lonely during that period of time, because I was hoping that what I did would have some effect on the thinking of the government, if not by Tunku, but at least by his deputy.
جربت خذلان الأصدقاء وابتعاد الناس عنك؟
Yes, I experienced that. I was not able to, nobody wants to come and see me, but some rebels among the university students, the people who were not very supportive of the Tunku, they came to see me. And sometimes I get invited by young people to speak to them, mostly young people.
أنا لاحظت في مذكراتك أنك كنت عنيدا، تحب المجازفة وتحب التحدي، وقمت بهذا في وقت يؤثر فيه عامة السياسيين أن يكونوا ودودين، لا يصطدمون بقادتهم، وعادة ما يمالئونهم. هل العناد والتحدي جزء من شخصيتك التي ساعدتك على أن تحقق ما حققت في الحياة بعد ذلك؟
Maybe that is so. But if you want to do something, but you are afraid of doing it, then you will not know whether the thing that you want to do will succeed or not. To know whether it is accepted, successful or not, you have to actually practice it, to do it. Then you will know what is the reaction. But if you do nothing, then people do not know what is your stand. And if they don't know your stand, they will not accept you as a leader, for example.
عدت في هذه الفترة للمهنة التي تقول إنها مهنة إسعاد الناس وهي الطب، مهنتك الأساسية. هل أخرجك العودة إلى ممارسة الطب من العزلة السياسية التي فرضت عليك؟
Not exactly. People who come to see me, my patients, many of them know my stand on politics, and sometimes they express their support for me, or they give their opinions to me. So in a way, rather indirectly, I was still involved in politics.
أنا لاحظت أيضا أنك لم تضع الوقت كما يقولون، دخلت في بعض الأعمال التجارية وأعمال البزنس الصغيرة مثل بناء القوارب، صناعة الثريات، وكذلك دخلت في مشروعات تجارية مختلفة.
Yes, I had to keep myself busy. If not, I would have too much free time, and I have never liked wasting time doing nothing. If I'm not doing anything, the least I can do is to read or to write or to meet people where possible. So I don't waste time at all. All my time is occupied in doing anything at all during my waking hours. It's only when I sleep that I don't work.
هل كنت خائفا من الدخول في مرحلة الاكتئاب السياسي؟
No, I think when you are busy, you don't get depressed. I knew that when I was practicing medicine and doing nothing else, I worked from early morning until late at night. At that stage, I felt depressed because I didn't see the daylight at all. I was confined to my room. But when I am active, I don't be depressed.
في العام 1970 وقعت تغيرات كبرى في حزب المنظمة الوطنية أمنو. استقال تنكو عبد الرحمن من رئاسة الحكومة والحزب، وأصبح تون رزاق الذي لك به علاقة كما ذكرت جيدة هو الزعيم الجديد. هناك بعض الكتابات التي قالت أنك نسقت مع تون رزاق سرا للإطاحة بتنكو عبد الرحمن.
There was no conspiracy. There was no conspiracy, but I did know that he was quite keen to take over from the Tunku as Prime Minister. That is normal because he was number 2 man at that time, and his ambition, of course, was to become Prime Minister. When he saw what I was doing, he thought that maybe it will result in the Tunku resigning, and indeed, in the end, the Tunku resigned, and he took over as Prime Minister. But there was no conspiracy, no communication with him on how to bring down the Tunku. That I didn't do, nor did he do anything.
هل اعتقدت بعدما أصبح تون رزاق هو زعيما لأمنو ورئيسا للوزراء أن الفرصة قد واتتك للعودة مرة أخرى إلى الحزب؟
Well, after that, I felt much more comfortable, of course. And indeed, within a short period, after he became Prime Minister, I was able to apply to rejoin UMNO. Well, he placed no objection. I had to do all the formalities regarding rejoining, which I did. And by the end of it, I again became a member of UMNO. And shortly after that, of course, I was appointed as a senator in the upper house.
سأتي إلى هذا بالتفصيل، ولكن في خلال هذه الفترة التي كنت فيها مطرودا من أمنه. لم تضع وقتك أيضا في الكتابة، وكتبت عن كتابك الشهير التاريخي المعروف المعضلة الملايوية. رفضت كل دول النشر في ماليزيا أن تنشره، فنشرته في سنغافورة، ولكنه وصل إلى ماليزيا وانتشر على نطاق واسع جدا. أنت انتقدت الملاي نقدا شديدا، وهم بني عرقك وجلدتك، في هذا الكتاب نقدا شديدا. انتقدت كسلهم، تحدثت عن جشعهم، تحدثت عن أمور كثيرة للغاية. أولا، هل اعتقدت أن هذا الكتاب سيوزع على هذا النطاق الواسع ويلقى هذا القبول؟
Well, I did not think it would be very popular, but I couldn't publish it in Malaysia because I think the government would not allow. So I had to publish it in Singapore. But immediately it became very popular. In that book, what I intended to do was to tell the truth about the situation in Malaysia and why we as Malays are behind the other races in many ways, in business, in acquisition of wealth, in the acquisition of knowledge, a better education and all that has escaped us. So I thought that it was a wrong policies by the government, B, it is because the Malays themselves do not want to enter into any tough struggle. They like an easy life. They like to just do nothing. So I had to criticize them because criticizing their opponents or their enemies would not make the enemies change in favor of the Malays. They have to change themselves. So I did say a lot of bad things about the Malays, that they are lazy, that they are not trustworthy. And I believe these are the reasons why they have not been able to succeed as well as the Chinese and the Indians in Malaysia.
العرقيات دائما ترفض من ينتقدها بل تكرهه، وهؤلاء بني جلدتك وأنت منهم. أما خشيت أن تحظى بكم من الكراهية من قبل الملالويين يدمر مستقبلك السياسي؟
Well, that is a risk I have to take. But if I don't tell them the truth, they are not going to change. And if they don't change, they can never succeed. So I had to be truthful, even if it makes me less popular.
وهل تقبلوا هذا منك؟
I think they do because they still supported me strongly. This was shown when I returned to UMNO. There was generally a good reaction. They welcomed me back into UMNO. And when we had election in the party, I was able to get the highest number of votes as a member of the Supreme Council.
هل مهنتك كطبيب طغت عليك في توصيفك للداء، فوصفت الداء للمريض بشكل يخلو من كل مجاملة؟
Yeah, I believe in telling my patient the truth. Of course, doctors sometimes do not tell everything because they do not want their patients to suffer. For example, knowing that they are going to die of cancer in several months, that is not necessary. But otherwise, you have to tell them the truth because a lot of their way of life affects their health. So I had to tell them what they should not do, what they should do if they want to remain healthy. And I have to speak the truth about that. I can't lie to them. And this has carried through into my career as a politician. I tell people the truth about what I think about them because only then can they make the corrections.
هل تغير الملايويون بعد مرور ما يقرب من 50 عاما من صدور هذا الكتاب، وتغير نمط عيشهم وطريقة احترامهم وأدائهم للعمل وأخلاقيات العمل لديهم، هل تغيرت؟
Well, a very few number of people have changed and they have succeeded, but the vast majority of them still adhere to their lifestyle, their value system, And because of that, they are not able to compete with the more vigorous, more dynamic Chinese community in Malaysia.
أنت تعيش هماً منذ صغرك وحتى الآن، وعمرك بارك الله لك فيه وأمد فيه ومتعك بالصحة، الآن 93 عاماً تعيش معضلة اسمها المعضلة الملايوية. ما الذي كنت تأمل أن تجد عليه الملايويين ولم يتحقق إلى الآن؟
Well, I'm fortunate in that I have lived longer than most people, and I think it will be worthless if I spend my last years doing nothing when I can still do something in the way of serving my own people. I want them to change. I still want them to change. I still explain to them why they must change, because otherwise there is emptiness in my life, because I am not doing anything for the good of my own people. For me, of course, it is I look after my health, and that's all. I'm lucky that I should survive for so long, but having survived, doing nothing would mean we are wasting a gift from Allah actually for a longer life. You see, it's a gift. When you receive something from somebody, you must show value for what you receive. And I think if I spend my last few years doing nothing, it doesn't seem as if I appreciate having been given a longer life than usual.
أطال الله في عمرك. قد يصطدم كثير من الناس حينما يعلمون أنك وأنت في 93 تداوم صباحا من 8 صباحا وحتى 6 مساء في أكثر من مكتب لك. علاوة على ذلك أبلغتني أن هناك بعض الأنشطة المسائية أيضا تقوم بها في بعض الأحيان. كثير من الناس قضوا عمرهم في الحياة لم يفيدوا أنفسهم ولم يفيدوا البشرية في شيء، وكثير منهم يتقاعدون في 40 و45 و50 عاما. ماذا تقول لهؤلاء؟ ما الذي يجب أن يقدمه الإنسان إلى آخر يوم في حياته، سواء لنفسه أو إلى عائلته أو إلى الأمة أو إلى الناس؟
I think you are given time to live, and I think during that time you should do something not only for yourself. It's not just about eating and enjoying life because you have the time and the health, but if you have the time and the health, what do you contribute to your community? I think, and even to humanity as a whole. That is why I'm campaigning against war. Now I'm campaigning, of course, in order to replace the new government. Last night I came back at about 2 o'clock in the morning because I had to travel by car 6 hours to and from a place that is about 250 kilometers from my home. And of course this morning I have to still to work. I came to work a little bit late today. But as long as you can, I think you should make full use of your life. Not only for yourself. It's not just about eating and drinking and sleeping and enjoying life. I think there must be something else you contribute to the community.
كثير من الناس يقولون ما الذي يدفع رجلا بنى بلدا من وسط ضعيف للغاية إلى أن تصبح واحدا من أميز الدول وهي ماليزيا؟ ما الذي يدفعه وهو في 93 إلى أن يظل يمارس السياسة ويعارض ويرفع صوته ويصوب؟ لماذا لا يرتاح ويكتفي بما أنجزه ويدخل التاريخ من أوسع أبوابه كرجل قدم إنجازات دون أن يدخل في إخفاقات بعد ذلك؟
I believe that if I don't work, I won't live so long. You see, I always advise people who retire that they must do something. If they just retire and do nothing and probably like to lie in bed doing nothing, I think they will die very quickly. I think working contributes towards your living longer, because when you work, you exercise your body, you exercise your brain, and this gets stimulated all the time. As we all know, if you don't use your body, it begins to weaken. Like people who are in bed because they were sick, at the end of it, when they become well, they find themselves unable even to stand. So your mind, your brain, and your body must be exercised all the time. And that will, I think, this is my belief, that will prolong life.
أعطاك الله الصحة والعافية وطول العمر. كنت تشارك في ندوات كثيرة في العام 71، منها ندوة لأمنو، التقيت في أحدها مع تون رزاق وتصافحتما وتحدث، وكان تصدر هذا صفحات الصحف في اليوم التالي. كان هناك معارضة شديدة في أمنو أن تعود بعدما أهنت تنكو عبد الرحمن في الرسالة التي نشرت قبل ذلك، ولكن تون رزاق قال إذا كان محاضير محمد يريد أن يعود إلى الحزب فليعد عبر الطرق المفتوحة. كان هذا إشارة لك أن تقدم طلبا، وبالفعل في 8 مارس 1972 تم قبول طلبك وعدت إلى صفوف أمنو، وتصدر الخبر صدر الصحف أيضا. لكن لم يمض إلا وقت قليل حتى ترقيت في صفوف أمنو 3 أشهر فقط، وأصبحت عضوا في المجلس الأعلى للحزب. هل وجدت الوضع في أمنو في عهد تون رزاق مختلفا كثيرا عن الوضع في أمنو في عهد تنكو عبد الرحمن؟
Well, many of those who supported Tunku Abdul Rahman, of course, did not like my returning to UMNO. But during Tunku Abdul Rahman's time, the meeting of the Supreme Council sometimes lasted only 15 minutes. We were not given a chance to discuss. I had a lot of things to tell the Supreme Council, but there was no time given for serious discussion on issues concerning the nation. But under Tun Razak, I was made a member of the political committee, and I was also a member of the Supreme Council. The Supreme Council meets over a longer period of time, and we had time to voice our opinion and report what we see on the ground, so that Tun Razak was aware what is the level of support for the government and for the party. As a member of the political committee, I get a chance to meet him and a few other people in the committee, and we have very serious discussions about Malaysia, about its future, about the region, and even about the situation in the rest of the world. So Razak was a very good administrator. He was a very serious leader, and he wants to know as much detail as possible, because he feels he is responsible for making decisions, and he wants to make decisions that are backed by reasons and coming from the situation prevailing in the country.
ما هي الفوارق الأساسية بين شخصية الرجلين، تنكو عبد الرحمن أول رئيس للحكومة الماليزية بعد استقلالها وأول ورئيس أيضا أمنو، وتون رزاق رئيس الوزراء الثاني الذي خلفه في المنصب؟ اختلفت مع الأول وتوافقت مع الثاني، ما الفوارق بين شخصية الرجلين؟
There was a great deal of difference. Basically, Tunku Abdul Rahman was not a politician. Because of the resignation of the first president of UMNO, Dato' On Jaafar, there was a vacancy, and he was invited. He was not a member of UMNO. He was invited to become its new leader. So it is not something that he worked towards. He was offered this because when they were studying in England, Tunku Abdul Rahman and Tun Razak were good friends, and they used to have discussions about Malaysia and all that while they were students. So it was natural for Tun Razak to propose Tunku as a replacement for Dato' On. And it is because of that that he became the president of the party. It's not that he contested to become the president. He did not. He did not do anything at all, but he was chosen on the recommendation of Tun Razak. But Tun Razak, on the other hand, during the time when he was the deputy prime minister, he was the one concerned and involved in the administration of the country. Tunku lays down only the policies, but Tun Razak was the implementer. He was heading the government. He was presiding over all the activities of the government, the administration. He was already an administrator, a senior administrator in his own state. So the skill of administration is with Tun Razak, not with the Tunku. The Tunku, in any case, did not take even his studies in England very seriously. But Razak was qualified as a lawyer in a shorter space of time than most lawyers.
طبعا تونكو هذا لقب ملكي، وتون أيضا لقب، وسيري لقب. هذه ألقاب تسبق الأسماء.
Yeah, Tunku inherited the title because he comes from royal families. All members of royal families are called Tunkus, which is equivalent to prince. But Tun Razak was from among the common people, and the title Tun was conferred on him by the king after our independence. So it is a title given to him. Like me, for example, I am now a Tun. I was awarded this title after I resigned from the government. But Tun Razak was given this title while he was still in government as the number 2 man. So there is a difference there. Razak is a commoner, although an elite, but he's still a commoner. Tunku was from the royal family.
تون هو لقب يمنح من الملك، زي باشا مثلا في مصر أو في تركيا، باشا أو بيك، مثل هذه الألقاب. يعني هذه ألقاب ملكية، لكن تونكو لقب ملكي، وتون هو لقب يمنح من الملك.
Yes, Tunku is inherited. By birth, he becomes Tunku because he was born in the royal family. But the Tun is awarded for services done, for distinctive service to the nation. The reward is to give you the title of Tun, which is the highest title that a commoner can get.
أنا أردت أن يفهم هذا المشاهد في العالم العربي. في العام 1974 وبعد مضي 5 سنوات على انتخابات 1969، تون رزاق دعا الجبهة الوطنية أمن ورئيس الحكومة دعا إلى انتخابات برلمانية ترشحت أنت فيها وعدت وأصبحت عضوا في البرلمان عام 1974 مرة أخرى. ما الذي مثله هذا الأمر بالنسبة لك، العودة نائبا في البرلمان مرة أخرى عام 74؟
Well, even before I contested to become member of the lower house, I was already appointed by Tun Razak as Prime Minister. I was appointed as a senator, that is the upper house. So when there was this election in 1974, I resigned from becoming senator and contested in the election in 1974. In 1974, I won the election without contest. Nobody contested against me. So I won the election without contest, and subsequently, of course, I became a member of parliament. And Tun Razak, when he was forming his new cabinet, asked me to join the cabinet as Minister of Education.
هل فاجأك الحصول على هذا المنصب أن تصبح وزيراً للتربية والتعليم في حكومة تون رزاق عام 1974؟
Yes, I was quite surprised because normally to become a minister, you become first a political secretary, a parliamentary secretary, and then you become a deputy minister, then you get elevated to become a minister. But in my case, I never was appointed as parliamentary secretary or deputy minister. I went straight from being a member of the House to becoming a minister in the government.
هذا كان يثير أعدائك داخل الحزب عليك، كيف تترقى بهذا الشكل السريع وأنت كنت مطرودا من الحزب قبل سنوات؟
Yes, it angered a lot of people. Among them was the leader of the youth movement. He sort of went around the country to campaign against me. Unfortunately, during the course of his campaign, he had a heart attack and he passed away. But after that, I think the youth who were under him, they were more supportive of me and they did not like his campaigning against me. After that, there was little opposition to my becoming minister.
هل كنت تطمح إلى أن تصبح وزيراً في وزارة أخرى أم أن وزارة التربية والتعليم شعرت أنها الوزارة الأنسب بالنسبة إليك؟ لا سيما وأنك كنت مهتماً بموضوع التعليم من قبل.
Yeah, a lot of people felt that I was most interested in education because I believe that is a way to improve the performance of individuals so that they can succeed in life. So I had always been speaking about education. Before that, I was appointed as chairman of the Higher Education Committee of the government. So all the time, education was associated with me. And I think Tun Razak believed that I would be able to contribute in this field. Indeed, when the 1969 election resulted in my losing my position as member of parliament, Tun Razak wanted me to be advisor to the Minister of Education who was appointed at that time. So always there is this belief that I am very keen on education being given to all.
معنى ذلك أنه كان لديك رؤية لتطوير التعليم والنهوض به في ماليزيا؟
I have always been interested in the level of education, in the correctness of the field of knowledge we want to acquire. For example, when we become more industrialized, we thought that we must need a lot more scientists and engineers and less people doing the arts, studying history, geography and all that. That became less important, and we have to concentrate on the subject that will enable them to qualify to take on jobs. Now, of course, we have people learning in IT, in the information technology, electronics, and all the new science that are being used in order to devise new products that benefits us all.
كيف كان وضع وزارة التربية والتعليم حينما توليت أمرها في ماليزيا عام 1974؟
Well, it was not very focused. Lots of people like to study the arts because it's easier to get a degree studying the arts. Very few wanted to study science because science is more difficult, engineering is more difficult and takes a longer time. Medicine, for example, takes 6 years. So people try to get a university degree in the shortest time possible, taking the easiest course, and that was wrong. That is not what the nation needs. So we then started to emphasize the study of science, even at the school level, at the secondary, primary school level. We want people to learn science because science will play a very important role in the development of human civilization.
ما موقع وزارة التعليم في هيكل الدولة ودورها المهم في النهضة بالأمة؟
I think it plays a major role. I think without education, no nation can really progress. We need everybody to be educated. We need some people to specialize in certain fields. We need people who are better educated to be in the government and working in the administration as well as in politics. Because with more knowledge, people will be able to make better decisions.
ما هي الصلاحيات التي كانت لديك كوزير للتعليم في التغيير وتوجيه الطلبة للدراسات المختلفة التي تحتاجها الدولة؟
Well, I was given a lot of power. I was allowed to change a lot of things. Among the things that I emphasized was a question of discipline. I believe that without discipline, we cannot succeed. So at that time, many students were inclined to spend more time in politics rather than studying. I don't mind them being involved in politics, but they are in the university to study, and people pay money for them to study. They must, in good faith, study because this is what they are supposed to do with the money being spent on them. So I became quite unpopular with the students because I told them that they need to study, but they need to not to be involved too much in politics, in demonstrations and the like.
حينما كنت وزيراً للتربية والتعليم عام 1974 لم تنخفض شعبيتك فقط بين الطلبة، بل إنك دخلت في مواجهات معهم. اسمح لي أبدأ الحلقة القادمة من المواجهات التي اندلعت بينك وبين الطلبة حينما احتجوا على سياساتك وعلى قمعك لهم حينما قاموا بمظاهرات داخل الجامعة. أشكرك معالي الدكتور مهاتير محمد رئيس الوزراء ومؤسس ماليزيا الحديثة، كما أشكركم مشاهدينا الكرام على حسن متابعتكم. في الحلقة القادمة إن شاء الله نواصل الاستماع إلى شهادة الدكتور مهاتير محمد رئيس الوزراء الماليزي ومؤسس ماليزيا الحديثة. في الختام أنقل لكم تحية فريق البرنامج، وهذا أحمد منصور يحييكم، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.